Today's date is June 2nd, 2020, and we are at the Cook Road Railroad Crossing. My friend Ohio Train Vlogs decided to join me as well as some other friends, and we catch 2 trains on this day. But there's a couple things I want to discuss first before the trains get here. Before we see any trains, we see one of Norfolk Southern's new high-rail trucks. It's a 2020 Chevy Silverado HD using high-rail wheels, and I've only seen one of these trucks so far. I would also like to point out that there was a lot of rail fans out on this day, including Railfan YouTuber Porter Productions as well as ourselves. The reason why there was a lot of people here on this day is because a lot of us got word that the Leigh Valley Heritage Unit will be trailing third on NS train 18M, and that's why we're here. After some time of waiting for 18M to come through, which is the train that the Leigh Valley Heritage Unit was on, our first train passes Cook Road, but it was not 18M. It was the CSX Beer Run, symboled Y222. This train was not carrying any cars, it was just the locomotives heading to the Budweiser plant over by the train club in Worthington. And finally, after Y222 made its way through, 18M was given clearance to go down this leg of the Sandusky District at Cook Road. And there she goes. The Leigh Valley Heritage Unit was on this train as advertised. Well, it's time to cross off another Heritage Unit off the old bucket list. After seeing the Leigh Valley Heritage Unit, we then move a few days later onto June 5th, 2020, and we are in Kyleville, Ohio on the CSX Scotts-Long Secondary at milepost 117 on the railroad. We're here, we catch CSX Q311, a manifest train that heads westbound up the Scotts-Long Secondary. Nothing really too much was on this train, but it had a quartet of GEs on the point with a friendly crew as well. I want to take this time to note while the train is passing through right now that this was a good train. Not just because of the fact that a YN2 was leading, the train totaled at 6,283 feet, which means it had a good length of train behind it, which is something that the last Q311 we saw never had. After seeing Q311, we returned to Kyleville on June 7th, 2020 to catch the nightly CSX Q147 on the Scotts-Long Secondary subdivision. When the train was coming, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to be on the south side of the Scotts-Long Secondary because there was a building that blocks the sun, which is also on the south side when the sun is going down as well. Leading tonight's Q147 is CSX 3084, a GE ES44AH. Let's focus on the trailing unit tonight, CSX 8905, an EMD ST70AH, which was built in 2019 for CSX. Now later I would find out that this is the same ST70AH that led the U613 coal train. So I finally got to see 8905, and this is the second ST70AH I'll ever see. After seeing that, we then move to June 9th, 2020, and we are in McCord Park in Worthington, Ohio. We are here today to catch CP7023, an EMD ST70 ACU painted in the Air Force Tribute paint scheme. Unfortunately, PTC issues delayed him to past dark. Yeah, that was pretty fun on the mental side of things, but let's see what actually did come through. The second unit on this manifest train, specifically 18M, I want to call your attention to because it's NS 4000, the AC44C6M rebuild prototype unit, painted in the special blue, gold, and gray paint scheme, aka Sonic the Hedgehog paint scheme. Now, as you can see, this locomotive is pretty dirty, and I think we need to start with a bath as well as a repaint following that. Anyways, sit back and relax and enjoy the rest of the train. After 4000 went through, we then thought to ourselves, great, the train with the Air Force unit, specifically NS-189, will be coming next. Unfortunately, that was not the case. A generic Norfolk Southern manifest train made its way north of the Sandusky district after 18M passed. Not really much left to say about this. After that, we then move to June 11th, 2020, and we are back in Kyleville, Ohio to catch CSX Q311, the daily manifest train that heads west on the Scotts Long Secondary. The reason why we are here is because Q311 had an ST70AH leading. Even though we would miss Q311, at least we get to see the eastbound local that travels on the Scots Long Secondary, specifically H708. Now, typically H708 isn't an interesting train because it's usually pretty short and usually has wide cab 6-axle GEs pulling the train, which is pretty much overkill, but today was an exception. Even though it was overkill, it had a variety of locomotives pulling the train, both 4-axle and 6-axle, EMD and GE. Leading the train is CSX 2239, a GP35 road slug. It is mated to an ex-L&N EMD GP40-2, specifically 6470, followed by CSX 5354, a GEES 40DC, and lastly followed by CSX 61, a GE AC 4400 CW. Quite the interesting lashup for such a short train, if you ask me. Later on in the day, we relocate ourselves to the downtown areas of Circleville, Ohio. Yes, new railfanning territory, for me at least. The reason why we are here is because Norfolk Southern is moving an old Norfolk and Western steam locomotive to the National Museum of Transportation in St. Louis, with a routing up the Sandusky district, and we thought this would be a good place to go see it. Before the steam locomotive move can even go through Circleville, Norfolk Southern wanted to send regular traffic through on the Sandusky district first. Here we see a Norfolk Southern northbound intermodal train as it makes its way past the grain elevator here in Circleville. There are 3 locomotives on this train, but the second one I want to call your attention to after the train passes. Reading 1067 was trailing second on this intermodal train, and unlike last time from a few videos back, I was able to get a good look at it. After waiting a little bit since the intermodal with the Reading Heritage Unit went through, we hear someone say train, and look behind us, and whoosh! Here came a southbound grain train here on the Norfolk Southern Sandusky district.
you're asking about, Max?
No, you can't see that, but there's a green signal, and hopefully that's for the steam engine that should be coming shortly.
And it should be a good test.
Some local YouTube friends of mine from the Central Ohio Railfanning group and the Central Ohio Model Railroad Club join in with me as another northbound makes its way up the Sandusky district, specifically a manifest train. And this train was pulled by two AC 44C6Ms. And finally, at 11:14 p.m., Norfolk Southern Train 957 makes its way north through Circleville. The engineer really made his presence known, not only by the killer K5LA on the SD60E pulling the train, but the very large piece of steam-era history trailing behind him. With the gargantuan steam locomotive moving its way into the darkness, this will now conclude yet another video. What can I say? The last few weeks have been pretty busy and we got to see a lot of good stuff in that time frame. Make sure to hit the like button down below, leave a comment and tell me what you think of it, subscribe to my channel, and tap the bell button to be notified when I get a new video out. Also subscribe to everyone that was in the video: Ohio Train Vlogs, Porter Productions, Ohio Pacific Productions, Jacob Western 11, Northeast Railfanning Productions, because they were all with me at one point in the video. Also stay safe from COVID-19, everyone, keep good hygiene, and have a nice day.